What's up, guys? I'm Gunner. Welcome back to the GMoney poker vlog, and I'm looking at the camera this time. Appreciate y'all's feedback. Thanks to everyone who's been liking and subscribing to my videos. Y'all are making my channel great and getting it out in the algorithm. Thank you so much for that. Before we get into the hands, I want to let y'all know I've been grinding on the PLO Mastermind pre-flop skills trainer. I've been practicing a lot of 3-bet and 4-bet pot spots and been getting pretty good at those. I've also been practicing my raise first in ranges. I'm a bit weaker at those, but I'm noticing the big blinds lost when you make a bad decision when you raise first in is much lower. If you make a mistake in a 3-bet pot pre-flop, you're going to lose a lot of money. If you make a mistake raising first in, you probably won't lose that much, but I'm still trying to get good at those. Check it out in the link below if you haven't before. I highly recommend it. I use it a lot. Also, check me out on Instagram. It's the best way to contact me. And if you want to get in the Telegram, the group's below. We got a bunch of crushers in there and building something big. Without further ado, let's get into the hands. Alright guys, let's get into some hands. I get to the lodge early. There's been a lot of overnight games running, and I don't mind waking up early. As the saying goes, the early bird gets to play the tired degenerates. Alright, enough bad humor. I buy in for 1800. I've been playing for about an hour and I'm up about 200. I looked down at ace, queen, queen, 9 with ace high diamonds. The $10 straddles on. Middle position, low jack and the cutoff limp. Definitely potting this one. I raise it up to 65. The big blind, middle position, and low jack make the call. So we're headed 4 ways to the flop, which comes queen, 4, ace, rainbow. Definitely above average. I block aces. I basically have the nuts. I'm first to act in the small blind, and I want to bet for value, so I bet 100. All 3 players call, and we're headed 4 ways to the turn. I'm really hoping to see a card that's not a Broadway card or a 5, because I would still have the effective nuts. I didn't run too hot in my last session, so praying for a good one. And the turn comes to 8 of clubs. That's a good one. Definitely want to bet for value here, and I want to go big considering 3 opponents are showing interest in this pot. So I pot it for 680. The big blind calls all in for 115. The middle position player is tanking. I'm really hoping he calls, trying to win a big pot here. He ends up calling, and the low jack folds. So we're headed heads up to the river for the side pot. This guy only has 90 bucks left behind, so basically no matter what comes down, I'm going to be going all in. It comes to 8 of spades, so I make a full house. It's basically the nuts. I go all in for 90. He calls. He shows ace 8, so pretty good run out to get value for my hand. And I'm going to win a $2,300 pot. The early bird certainly getting the worm. It's still early. The stack's at 2,800. Let's hope for some more run good. In this next hand, I look down at ace queen 9-9 with ace high diamonds in the $10 straddle. This pot's going to be a limp fest. There's 7 limpers to me. I decided to check my option. We head A-ways to the flop, which comes 2 queen 8 with 2 diamonds. I have top pair, top kicker, and the nut flush draw. I bet 75. It folds to the hijack, and kind of a weird spot. He puts all his chips in the middle, but a pot size bet is 305. It folds back to me, and I just called, thinking I was going all in, but the dealer doesn't allow it and says he's going to put the turn out, and then we can run it from there. So we go heads up to the turn, which comes the 10 of diamonds, giving me the nuts. We both have basically gone all in blind for 70 more, and we're going to run it twice from the turn here. The first river is the 6 of spades, and the second river is the ace of clubs. So I have the nuts on both boards. Let's go. I show my hand. It's obviously good. He flopped a set of 8s. Kind of an unorthodox cooler for my opponent, given that the dealer wouldn't allow the all-in on the flop. Either way, it's not even 7 a.m. yet, and I've already felted 2 opponents. I'm running good. Let's try to keep it going. Not much happens for the next hour until I look down at ace 5, 4, 3 double suited in the small blind. There's no straddle on this time. Under the gun limps and middle position makes it 15. There's a bunch of callers, and I call as well. We're headed 6 ways to the flop, which comes 4, 3, 10 with 2 hearts. I flop the wrap and the nut flush draw. Extremely strong hand here, so I bet 75. Under the gun calls, and we're headed heads up to the turn, which comes to 7 of spades. It doesn't improve my hand, but I still have a lot of equity in most cases, so I bet 200. Under the gun goes all in for 350. I make the call. We're gonna run it twice, hoping to hit my outs. Kind of been my day so far. The first river comes, the queen of spades, that's not one of them. I do have bottom two pair on that board, but don't think it's gonna be good. Come on, dealer, give me something good on this second run out. And we get the six of spades, making a straight. I'm not 100% that it's gonna be good, but I show my hand, and my opponent shows 8, 7, 6, 3. She has two pair on both boards, so I'm gonna win the bottom run out. I was drawing pretty live, but we're gonna chop this one. Next hand up, I look down at 6, 6, 5, 5, double suited in the small blind. Under the gun limps, and under the gun 2 makes it 15. There's a few callers, I call as well. We're headed 6 ways to the flop, which comes 4, Jack, King with 2 diamonds. I've got nothing here, and I'm out of position. I check, and he checks around. We're headed 6 ways to the turn, which comes a 7 of spades, giving me the open-ended straight draw. I check, under the gun bet 60. The cutoff calls. When it's back on me, my hand isn't too strong, but I do have an open-ender, and considering I have 2 6s and 2 5s, I think that if I hit one of my sets, it would be good here. So I decided to make the call. The big blind calls as well. We're headed 4 ways to the river. Alright, poker gods, put out a good card. I want to win another one. The dealer puts out the 10 of spades. That ain't it. I check. It checks around. Definitely losing. Under the gun shows top 2. Can't win them all. Nice hand to my opponent. Next up, I look down at ace 10, 4, 2 with ace high diamonds in the big blind. $10 straddles on. Under the gun in the button limp. I limp as well. The straddler makes it 50. He's been squeezing a lot, and after under the gun and button call, I want to make the call as well. We head 4 ways to the flop, which comes 4, 5, 6 with 2 diamonds. I flop the nut flush draw, but there's lots of better made hands already, so I'm going to take the defensive route. I check. The straddle bets 100. He had been continuing a lot. Under the gun folds. Button calls all in for 30. I'm going to make the call for 100 and see what happens on the turn. Alright, dealer. I'd like to hit it now. The dealer puts out the 10 of diamonds. I got the nuts. That seems to be the theme today. I'm going to check and give my opponent some rope, but he checks it back, doesn't take the bait. We're heads up to the river for the side pot, which comes the 9 of diamonds. I still have the nuts. I could check again to give my opponent rope, but I decide to bet for value. I make it 400. The straddle snap folds. Definitely going to win here. I show my hand, and the button mucks. On to the next one. I now look down at ace, king, king, 4 with king high spades in the big blind. The $10 straddles on. Under the gun, cutoff, in the small blind limp. I could re-raise, but without the suited ace, I decide against it. The straddle squeezes again to 60. Under the gun, cutoff, and myself call. We head 4 ways to the flop, which comes 2, jack, king with 2 clubs. I flop top set here. Now you'll hear people say that double suited aces is the best hand in PLO, but I think top set's the best hand in PLO. Given that the straddle's been continuing a lot on flops, I check it to him, and he comes through. He makes it 155. Under the gun folds, and the cutoff calls. I want to put more money in here, given that there's a flush draw, which I don't have. So I pot it to 870. The straddler folds. It's back on the cutoff. He starts taking inventory before going all in for 1780. I can't call fast enough. I always run it twice if my opponents want to, but this guy's a one-time kind of guy, so we're getting max pain either way. Come on, dealer. I don't know what he needs, but don't give it to him. Just put a king out there. The turn comes, the 5 of spades. I still have the nuts. Just gotta fade whatever he needs. The river comes the queen of diamonds. Not my favorite card because some straights get there. I show my hand. My opponent looks at his cards. And he mucks. Let's go. $4,000 pot coming my way. And I felt another opponent. It's not even 10 a.m. yet. Early bird's getting a lot of worms today. Let's go. I'm now sitting in the neighborhood of 5,200, up for my $1,800 buy-in. Let's keep running it up. In this next hand, I look down at Queen Jack Jack 9 with Jack Eye Hearts in middle position. $10 straddles on, under the gun limps. I pot it to 45, small blind and under the gun call. We're going three ways to the flop. It comes 10 Queen 4 rainbow. There's one heart. I have top pair and an open ender and a backdoor flush draw. I bet 100. The small blind calls, and we're heading heads up to the turn. The turn comes to 2 of diamonds. Doesn't improve my hand. He checks, I check as well. We're heads up to the river, which comes the king of spades. I make the low end of the straight, but considering I have 2 jacks in my hand, I think I'm likely to be good. He checks it to me. I bet 300. He folds pretty quickly, and I'm going to take down a small one. In this hand, I look down at ace jack jack 7 with ace high clubs in the hijack. $10 straddles on, middle position limps. I pot it to 45, cutoff and the big blind call, and we head three ways to the flop. The flop comes ace 7 queen rainbow. Big blind checks to me, and I bet 100 with top and bottom pair. The cutoff folds and the big blind calls. We're heads up to the turn, which comes to ace of diamonds. I make a full house, the big blind checks to me, and I decide to check it back for deception. We head to the river, which is a 6 of hearts, total blank. He checks it to me again. I want to go for value. I bet pot. He thinks about it, and ultimately folds, and I'm going to take down another small pot. In this next hand, I finally get aces, ace ace 5-3 with ace high diamonds in the $10 straddle. There's a $20 straddle on in this hand. Low jack, cutoff, small blind, big blind, all limp. I raise it to 135. 4 of my opponents make the call, and we're headed 5 ways to the flop. The flop comes 2-8-7 with 2 diamonds. I have the nut flush draw and a pair of aces. The big blind now goes all in for 455. My hand's too strong to fold, but too weak to raise. I make the call. The low jack calls as well, and we're headed to the turn, heads up for the side pot. Okay, dealer, I'm trying to run up a 10K stack today. I'm getting pretty close. Just put out a diamond, don't pair the board, and the dealer puts out the 7 of clubs, pairs the board. That sucks. I feel like I'm dead to an ace here, and there's a dry side pot, no reason to bet. I check it. The low jack's thinking about it, but I think he realizes it's a dry side pot, and he checks it back. Okay, dealer, I wanted a diamond, but just give me an ace. That would be sweet. The dealer puts out the 5 of clubs. Not gonna do it. I have 2 pair, nothing to bet for. I check. The low jack checks it back. We go to showdown, and the big blind shows that he flopped a set of deuces, and he's gonna take this one down. Nice hand to the big blind, but I can't help but feel like those chips in his stack are actually my chips, and we're going to battle in a hand later on, and we'll see if I get him back. I now look down at ace king queen 7 with ace high clubs in the small blind. No straddle in this one. There's a few limps before the button raises it to 20. I re-raise it to 75. The big blind and the button make the call, and we head 3 ways to the flop. The flop comes 4-7-3 with 1 club. I have top pair, and this board shouldn't be too good for my opponents. I bet 100, the big blind calls, the button folds. We're heads up to the turn, which comes to ace of spades. I now have top 2. I'm going to check it to my opponent. This guy's aggressive when checked to, but he checks it back. We head to the river, which comes to 3 of spades. I check it to him again, and given the action, I'm ready to call a bet, especially considering I block some full houses. He's tanking for a bit, and I'm really hoping he bets because I want to snap him off. He ends up checking it back, and he shows ace 3. Really surprising that he checked back a full house. I guess I have a good table image, and he didn't think he would get called by worse. In this spot he was wrong, because I really wanted to call, but I lost the minimum. I now look down at ace jack 4-3 with ace high spades on the button. $10 straddles on. It's a limp fest. There's 4 limps to me, and after all my PLO mastermind training, I'm really conditioned to fold or raise, but I think in these limp heavy games, It's okay to limp with a suited ace in position and try and hit something. So I limp as well, the small blind and big blind limp, before the straddle pots it to 85. Under the gun, middle position, hijack, and myself make the call, as well as the small blind. So we're headed 6 ways to the flop with a decent amount in the middle. The flop comes 8, queen, 2, all spades. Let's go. I got the nuts. It checks to me. Definitely don't want to check it back. My opponents could have flopped a set or 2 pair and draw out on me. So I bet 125. Only the middle position player calls. And this is the same guy from the hand where I had aces. So I'm back for revenge. Alright, dealer. Whatever you do, don't pair the board. The dealer puts out the 6 of clubs. I still have the nuts. He checks it to me. I'm not 100% sure if I want to go big or go small with my bet here, but I go big. I bet 600. It's back on him, and he's well into the tank. He looks like he's going to fold, but then he starts taking inventory of his chips. He counts them out. He counts them out again, a third time, before he goes all in for 845. I can't call fast enough. I ask if he wants to run it twice, and he asks what I have. I tell him I have the nut flush, and he says, I'm drawing dead. Might as well run it once. We run it once. It comes an inconsequential ace of diamonds. I guess he had a lower flush, but I felt another opponent and win a big pot. Let's go. I've been playing banker for the table after all the rebuys, so that's how I got these yellow chips. Now sitting on about 6,000. Can't ask for a better session than this. We're now playing a bomb pot, and I look down at ace, queen, queen, 8, badoogie in the big blind. The top board comes 9, queen, ace, rainbow, and the bottom board comes 6, jack, 4 with 2 spades. I have middle set and the top set blocker on the top, but not much on the bottom. I check, and it checks around. We head to the turn, which comes with 2 of diamonds on the top board and the 8 of spades on the bottom board. I decide to bet 125. I'm hoping to get called by multiple opponents. There's a decent chance I'll win the top board with multiple opponents, but not the bottom. Unfortunately, only the middle position player calls, and we head heads up to the river. The river comes the queen of hearts on the top board, giving me quads, and the 10 of clubs on the bottom. I still have basically nothing there. I pot it for 385, hoping he folds so I can scoop. He tanks for a bit, and then repots it. He only has like 50 bucks behind, and here's my reaction to his pot.
Just chop it up.
I think his yeah at the end was funny. He obviously has the king high flush. We were both trying to pull the same move on each other, but gonna be a chop. We both have the nuts. Nobody likes a chop, but hitting quads is nice. I'm getting kind of tired after getting here early, so I decide to rack up. I book a $3,800 profit. Nice win today. Wish I would have hit a diamond in that one pot, but that's just greedy. Let's go. Good session today. Always good to score a big profit. Been doing a lot of that recently. Hoping I can keep it up. Maybe there's a downswing coming. Who knows? I guess we'll find out in the next episode of the vlog. Hope to see you there.